yourself crazy trying to figure out what products support which groups. You want to make sure that, as I said earlier, going into the break, you're putting your money where your mouth is, and that you're supporting things that are in line with your faith. It's very, very important. Money does count. Money talks. And that's why Keith Miklas, our next guest at 15 minutes past the hour, decided to do just that, come up with a way for people to find out what they're supporting and where their money is going. And he's going to tell us about his ministry and his efforts in this interview. If you have a question, 877-573-7825. Again, 877-573-7825. The website is OVerus.org, OVerus.org. Keith, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, good morning, Teresa. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Let's talk about the name of the website, first of all, and the ministry. Where did that come from?
The OVerus emblem and website itself?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, what I realized it really started in year 2001, where a friend of mine made me aware that thousands of brands, hundreds of companies are donating money to non-Christian causes, abortion, gay marriage, and other things of this type. And I realized that with so many different brands on the shelf, I don't want to choose these brands. There's just too many choices there. I'll just choose another brand and choose something that will, that's aligned with my values.
So this is actually a Christian business emblem, a branding, right?
Yes, exactly. It's sort of like an organic mark or a fair trade, a good housekeeping seal of approval, something like that. It identifies the products and services brands that respect our values.
So how do we find it? Where would we look, okay? And how would we find these products?
You would look on the label of brands. It's a little mark. It's the word OVerus, O-V as in Victor, E-R-U-S, in a little circle. And it's just, it belongs on the label of brands. So let's say if you were confronted by a shelf full of coffee, there's about 40 different brands in a typical grocery store, you could just look for the logo and very, very easily choose a brand that respects Christian and Catholic values.
How many companies or how many brands do you have now that are involved in this actual branding?
Well, we were just awarded our trademark on February 24th of this year. It was a real milestone. We are the first Christian business emblem in the market. So right now what we have is our pilot brand, which is called Esther's Coffee. And this is available over the internet right now, and we are working on getting it into grocery store shelves, which is a battle in and of itself.
Are you optimistic about that, Keith, in terms of making a dent there?
Oh, I think that we're going to really make a good impact. One of the key facts here is that 77% of the United States is Christian, 77% of adults. That's about 160 million people, and this is 2001 census data. And one of the things that's been very confusing for me is why, as the majority of the population, are we having so much trouble making progress on key issues? And the reason, as I see it, is that we are, in a sense, a house divided, as Christ said. With one hand, we give to causes that promote our values, Christian values in society, and with the other hand, we reach for brands that turn around and donate to abortion. It just doesn't make sense, and I really believe that we're not going to make any progress until this issue is resolved.
Yeah. I think sometimes people, and you probably know this too, you probably heard this in your own research, people feel so overwhelmed, they're so busy, gosh, do I have the time to check this out? How much do I know? Where do I go for information? It's just that, sometimes it can be so overwhelming because the tentacles of these types of groups are everywhere,
Right. Well, the way I see it, it was kind of funny, actually. I did an unbelievable amount of research. I mean, I scoured grocery stores. I mean, all of the major grocery stores, all the major department stores in search of some voice of Jesus on the shelf, something to indicate that a product, service, or brand supports Christian values. I found everything from, kosher salt, fair trade coffee, organic milk, bird-friendly, dolphin-safe tuna, cage-free eggs. All of these are great causes, but where's the voice of Jesus? I spoke with my lawyers when we did the trademark registration. They couldn't believe that it hadn't been done. Even the claims examiner even mentioned, said, I can't believe this hasn't been done. So, there's really, it's unbelievable need that's out there for this mark.
All right, let's go to the phones. Tim from Davisburg, Michigan, which is outside of Detroit, online too. Hey, Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Teresa.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
You have a question for Keith or just a comment?
Yes, but actually it's a comment for Keith. First of all, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing here. I was not aware that this resource was available, so I thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. What I was aware of, and this is what I've done up until now, I would go to the National Gay and Lesbian Commerce Commission. I would look at their website to see which companies supported gay and lesbian lifestyles. You know, they're out promoting, these are all companies which are gay and lesbian friendly, and you should buy our product. Mm-hmm. So that was a key method that I used to see who to boycott.
Well, Tim, I'll tell you, that's good, but there's going to be issues for some people doing that. First of all, it is time-consuming, so it does take up time to go out and research those websites. And secondly, OVerus, we put a lot of thought into what it means to be a Christian product or support Christian and Catholic values. Included in our emblem are things like, of course, companies cannot donate to abortion. They cannot donate to gay marriage. They must, on the other hand, support the judgment of nations. You know, this is one of my favorite points in this. Christ told us in the judgment of nations 4 times, feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, clothe the naked, visit the sick, invite a stranger in, and visit those in prison. I mean, have you ever told a child something 4 times that you want them to listen? So as part of the certification process, we ask companies to support one of those causes, okay? In our OVerus-C certification, which is the next level, companies must pay a minimum wage. They may not use child labor. They must give their employees a day of rest. They must give them health care. And finally, they must pay equal pay for equal work between men and women. So we've put an awful lot of time and thought into this. Not to say that researching the gay and lesbian site isn't one way to proceed, but we package all of this into very simply looking for the logo.